Got something really big going on today, putting a lift kit on it. All right, we ready to get these pins out now? Hopefully they'll come on out pretty easy. More like probably beating them out. Instructions say just give it some light taps. I don't know what else to do. This ain't gonna work. I got no other options. I don't know, this might be one job we can't handle. Was the camera rolling? At least we didn't have to wear our arms out on that one.
Reinstall the retaining plate and rubber ring at the bottom of the new shaft.
Done that. And then we can do all the plumbing and auxiliary air tank. We can do that last after we get all the hardware mounted. All right, I tell you what, then the rest of this afternoon, let's get this stuff painted. Well, it's 5 o'clock. I'm a single dad tonight. Got to go home and cook supper, feed cows and stuff. Zach's, we got the primer on here. Still needs to cure out about another 10 minutes before we put a coat of paint. Zach's going to stay out here and paint it up, and we're going to call it a day today. Hopefully, first thing in the morning, it won't take long to get this stuff back on here, the wheel on, and we'll be done with this corner and move on. We might just go ahead and move to a little bit easier one. Might just go to the front wheel on this side. Hopefully those things aren't in there as tight or as seized up. Anyway, we'll be back in the morning. All right, back at it this morning. I'm gonna get hard at it this sprayer today. Hopefully get this wheel done and possibly get the front wheel done by the end of the day today. That's gonna be our goal anyway. Might be unobtainable what we're gonna try. All right, Zach, are we just ready to cinch these cylinders down and then put the wheel back on?
Cinch the cylinders down, get our brackets mounted back. I guess make sure these hydraulic lines ain't gonna have any extra pull on them.
Well, we won't know that until the airbag, when we get everything done and the secondary airbag airs all the way up. That's when we're gonna find out.
Put our new double pneumatic actuator on instead of just the standard John Deere rod.
Well, right now I'm just wondering if we keep this stuff, because we don't want to jack it up right now. If we just keep this standard stuff on there, if it'll just air the airbag up enough to match these others right now until we get all 4 wheels done, and then go back and install that. We'll see. We might try it out and see. If not, we can stick that on there. And we're going to find a way to support this up and down, because this thing hangs all the way down. We ain't never getting that wheel back on. All right, I'm going to twist this, stick this bolt in. I'll have to go this near side one first. A rod popped out of the rubber grommet.
Well, from the 4830, I've got plenty of experience popping them back in.
How's that other actuator and stuff supposed to, does it take the place of this?
No, it just goes, this stays. I don't know, that still looks like that original actuator. You just replace the rod arm on it.
I don't know if it looks the same.
It don't look the same though.
Yeah, we are replacing the leveling arm, so I'm guessing we're keeping the same. We're keeping the same valves, but we are replacing the leveling arm.
This is the new mounting bracket on the bottom.
All right, well, we got all the hardware attached. Got the new leveling valves and arms attached. Airbag, got all our hoses in place. The steel rods are secured. Got the extra wheel spacer on there. Last thing left is put the tire on and we'll move on to the next corner. All right, we got the wheel back on, everything else looks good. We'll let the jack down and see what collapses on us. I'm gonna stand back a little ways if that's okay with you.
I'm not going to be far behind you.
Uh-oh.
It's still underneath there.
We'll have to crank it up and put some air in the airbags. Well, these new rods ain't got much clearance on the wheel.
No.
All right, we're running the engine to get some air in the system, put some air in these airbags to raise it on up so we can get the jack out here. Well, it's aired up. Our jack right here, top of it was there whenever we started. So it's raised it up about another 4 inches just right there, and we don't even have the second airbags extended. We're going to do a little bit of a adjustment right here. We got different mounting holes for this actuator to go in, and I reckon we're going to have to raise it up a few holes, because right now it's sitting probably a little too high for the standard ride height. We'll play around with that once we get all the rest of the wheels done. All right, well, it only took us almost two whole days to do one wheel. Think we can get one more wheel done in 3/4 of a day. At least now that we know how it's done.
Now we know everything that we don't need to do for the rest of them.
I do know one thing we're going to do for sure. We're going to crab walk that sprayer a little bit closer to that wall over there. It just got a little too tight over here for my taste. All right, we got it repositioned in here. A little bit better, gives us a little bit more room. Jacked up, yank the tire off and see how hard these cylinders are going to be to get out now. All right, we learned a little bit from the first tire. We're going to try things just a little bit differently, see if we can get away from heating it. One thing, these caps here on the bottom, got one of them tight, got the other one just a hair loose there. So, and then we're going to be jacking on this side, so all the pressure is going to be on this one pin and not evenly divided between both pins, and hopefully that'll give us enough tension to crack it loose without having to heat it up, which should speed us up quite a bit. Try a couple easy taps like what he said. Oh, look at that.
Thank you, Lord.
That's how you do it.
I may cry.
I'm gonna call that guy, tell him let me rewrite his instructions. We learning as we go. Now you ain't gotta wait for nothing to cool off.
You never.
All right, let me lift this up where we can get that rod out and get the other one in. Oh!
Got your steel toes on?
Thank God for steel toes, but it's deformed now. Well, that boot shot.
Well, better than your foot.
That's why you buy steel toes. Yeah. All right, even though I was almost killed last fall, I still have a habit of making dumb mistakes that could potentially hurt me, and I just had another one. I'm gonna start the forklift to lift the hub up right there, and I was just standing down here on the ground, wasn't gonna move it, and did not have the parking brake locked, and it was just the way that gear shift lever is, got a lot of slop, and it just happened to be slightly in reverse. So as soon as I cranked it, it's not supposed to crank with it in reverse or in gear, but because all the slop, it managed to. Anyway, I was standing right here like this. You can see where my right foot is. Well, as soon as it cranked up, it started rolling backwards. And before I could put it in neutral, the front tire rolled up on my toe. Luckily, I am wearing steel toes, but these boots have now been ruined. It crushed that steel plate in there, but it did protect my feet. And then luckily with the strap hooked to that, it didn't pull the sprayer off the jack or anything. The strap was still loose. Like I said, we were going to lift it up. But anyway, let that be a lesson to, no matter what you do, maybe it's a lesson one day I'll learn. Let that be a lesson. You cannot possibly be too careful when messing around heavy equipment like that. Well, thank God the only thing that happened is I lost a perfectly good work boot, but $150 will fix that. If it hadn't been for that steel toe, I'd probably be going to the hospital and been having some major surgery on my foot, because let me tell you, that sucker's heavy. Well, it is now lunchtime. I think we're going to take just a slightly early lunch break. I'll let our blood pressure lower just a little bit. At least that's what Zach says he needs to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, we made real good progress on this one so far. Got the tire off, got everything jacked up. The first pin came out with just a few hard licks with a sledgehammer. Didn't have to heat it up, so we're definitely ahead of the game. Shouldn't have any problem as long as the other pin doesn't give us any problems. We shouldn't have any problem getting this thing done before the end of the day. All right, we got our bellies full. Ready to get this right front tire knocked out of the way this afternoon. Well, I guess we're just ready to slide the next one back in, aren't we? And then twist our tongues right when we get that one in, and hope that the second one comes out just as easy as the first one did. Well, we're dropping like flies around here. Whenever Zach was jacking on the jacks, put pressure on it, it suddenly broke loose and knocked the jack off onto his shin. All of us are the walking wounded this afternoon. But on a positive note, we've broken half the pins loose, so we're halfway there with the hardest part.
In 9 less hours than we did the first one.
I'm scared what the other side's gonna do to us though. Zach, all the hardware on. Son of a gun.
Popped it good, didn't
It's time to go home for a week. Oh, my head.
I think we need to buy a hard hat. You popped that sunbuck
That
square.
forklift arm is hard. Anyway, all the hardware on, everything tight, airbag on.
Yep.
So we are ready to put the tire back on, and then we'll be done with this side and go to the house before we
Anybody else hurts anything else?
before anybody else gets injured. Well, we're halfway there. I believe she's got some kind of gangster lean, don't she?
If only we would have thought about it before and done the front first instead of side to side, we would have looked like the kids riding down the road with their nose stuck up in there.
I think it'd look better if we just jack the rear end up and leave the front alone. Have something a little different.
I can promise you, it's going to be something different riding around.
It's all said and done. Once we got everything working, I might rig up some extra valves, a valve on each wheel, and we can just independently let one side up or down. Actually, that might come in handy for servicing, fixing a tire, or gosh knows what. That might actually come in handy.
When we actuate it, are we going to fix it up to where it raises front then rear, or left and
I don't know how his instructions have got it plumbed. I might go ahead and do a little modification. Like I said, put a valve on each wheel to be able to independently raise or lower the airbags. I mean, who knows where that might come in handy at. It would be real simple to do. At the very least, we could have some fun with it. We could drive it down the road and make some tongues wag, I'm sure. Anyway, we're half done. It's Friday afternoon, 5 o'clock. We are beat up, damaged, need to go home for the weekend and recuperate, so we'll get back on it Monday morning. Oh, and for the few commenters said I need to take my flag down, guess what? My shop, I'll decorate the way I want. I'm not gonna come in your shop, your house, and tell you need to take something down, so if you don't like it, you ain't gotta watch. All right, we got the third tire done. One more to go. Got 3 hours quitting time. Let's see if we can get her knocked out. All right, we've learned from our previous mistakes. Get out of the way. I really can't tell how much tension I'm putting on it with this thing. It could pop at any second.
I know you got some pressure on it.
Yeah, I'll stop right there and we'll put the old sledgehammer on it. Give her another pump or two. There she goes. 7 down, 1 more to go.
That 6 foot long piece made it a whole lot easier.
A little bit safer. All right, Zach, last one. How much trouble is it gonna give us? How hard was you jacking down on? All right, give her all you got. I'm gonna stand back. There we go. Concrete may be chipped, but the last one is busted loose. There goes your nice sealing job right there. I sure is happy now.
You have no idea.
All right, let's get her raised up and get that last one slapped in there. All right, go ahead. Let's stick this last tire on there. We're ready to see this thing back on 4 wheels. All right, let me get a couple nuts on here.
Well, what have we learned other than we're really out of shape?
I learned I don't want to do this again. If someone else wants to put one of these lift kits on, I'll be glad to give them all the advice they want to. I'll even stand there and supervise. I will not do it myself.
I'm in agreement.
Well, this has been the biggest project I had on my list this winter. I'm glad I'm not having to worry about it no more.
2-day snag on that one axle. I mean, crap, we knocked out just left side in 6.5 hours.
We spent what? 1 3/4 days on one wheel, and then a total of
1.5 days.
1 1/4 to 1.5 days on the other 3. We still need to hold our tongues right. We still haven't aired it up yet. Well, surprise, surprise. We got the other side done without any incident whatsoever. No loss of life or limb. I think we done good. And all got it done in one day because it's right at 5 o'clock. I don't know about you, I'm about ready to go home and eat some ibuprofen like it's candy.
I think I got some Tylenol and Icy Hot waiting on me at the house.
We have found out we're definitely a little bit more advanced in years and most definitely out of shape, not accustomed to this lifting. I think about every muscle on my body is inflamed or swole up, but it's done. The hard part anyway. We're still not quite done with this project. Tomorrow we got to get all the air lines run, the secondary air tank, the switch mounted up in the cab, but all that stuff ought to be a piece of cake compared to what we've done the last few days.
I'll feed airlines all day long before having to handle 8 more of them cylinder rods.
Back here again this morning on this sprayer. Hopefully the last day. Also, if you get the chance, go check out the latest issue of the Delta Farm Press. Well, actually, by the time this video comes up, it won't be the latest issue, but check out the week of February 26th. I actually get featured on it this time. It was kind of a surprise. I did a presentation at the Cotton and Rice Conference, and they took a lot of what I said and put it into an article about our soil health and how we plant green and everything we do with cover crops. It wound up being a real nice article, so if you're more curious about some of our soil health practices and the practices we utilize, be sure to check it out. The February 26th issue of the Delta Farm Press. All right, Zach, I got some good news for us this morning. We ain't got to jack nothing up and take no pins out today.
That's the best news I've got.
The goal is by the end of the day, you're able to walk up under here without touching your head. I got the tank placed right here on this mountain bracket goes up and down. One of these holes will line up, the second one won't, so you'll have to mark it and drill a hole in the tank bracket itself to line up with another hole right there. That's the best out of the way spot I can find. Now I'll get started on a switch in the cab and then we'll start running air lines and stuff. Well, we're about midway process of getting all the air lines and stuff run to the actuators and getting them mounted in the cab. That's getting started on the wheel shield assembly. these will go over the front part of the tires. They're actually called crop dividers, and it will help protect the crop as we're going through the field. For corn, really not all that critical, but for soybeans, because we plant on narrow soybeans, it really helps kind of part the crop and create less damage. And then especially with cotton, as many trips as we make through the cotton field, especially later on in the season, those wheels can do a lot of damage to the stalks and stems that have fallen over into the middle, knocking off bolls and stuff. So it's about another $5,000 right there. Well, Zach, I think we got everything hooked up. You wanna crank it up and see what it'll do?
See how far I gotta jump.
Hey, for another reference, go ahead and stand there.
Currently. I'm
This
not having to get on my
this is the
knees.
standard ride height. It is. We've measured it. It's about 3 inches taller than where it was stock. That's of course we got the spacer that we put in under the airbag. All right, come see how much you're going to enjoy servicing it now.
Step stool to get down?
Well, you about almost. It's a pretty long leap.
Oh yeah. I ain't touching my head yet. And I ain't going to.
I still got to duck my head just a little. Tell you what, we ever blow one of these hydraulic lines,
It's going
to be so much easier to fix it. Let me get the tape measure, see what kind of clearance we got. 70.5 inches.
I feel like we
And-
got one of them fancy Hakey sprayers.
And this is with 46-inch tires. If we get some different wheels, go up to 54-inch tires, we could be up there almost 75 inches of clearance. But I'm not going to spend that type of money. I think this is going to suit our purposes just fine. Now we'll get the wheel shields on and figure out what kind of poly shields we're going to need to rig up to protect our airbag and hoses, because we sure don't want corn rubbing on it and having a blowout of a hydraulic line or airbag. I'm mighty pleased. Tell you what, go put it in the intermediate heights and let's see what kind of clearance we got with, all right, intermediate ride height is at 66.5. So we're at 62 standard ride height, 66.5 on intermediate, and 70.5 all the way up.
So it's a full 8 inches like he said it would go.
Before we did anything with the stock airbags on there, it was like 59 inches. And then, those spacers are about 3 inches thick. So that gets us up to 62. And then airing the airbags up gets us on up to that 70.5. All right, I guess the only thing we got left to do is tighten up these bottom bolts. I just got them hand tight right now.
We gotta mount them back up.
No, because they need to have the full range of the suspension travel. Even if you don't have it aired up, these need to be loose. Otherwise, it's going to stretch on your hoses.
Oh, so we can't secure them at all.
He said he tied them up somehow, but he hadn't sent me the picture on that yet. Well, I reckon that's going to do it for this video. I'm going to be out the next few days on a trip. Zach, Kelly, and Paige going to be down here trying to get the rest of these wheel shields installed and get this sprayer out of here. I believe our next project is going to be probably getting the combine in here. Just got a few odds and ends on it, if we can get it back from the welder. I haven't heard anything from him yet about it being ready, but hopefully it'll be ready pretty soon. Zach, I don't know about you, but this has been the biggest project we've had on our list for this winter. Heck, it's the biggest project we've done in quite a while. Been kind of worried about it ever since we decided to buy the sprayer, but I sure am glad it's done.
You and me both. I was really about to get disappointed once we got into that first tire and taking 2 days to pull them rods out. I was dreading doing the other three. But
I'll admit I was worried. I thought maybe we bit off more than we can chew, but thankfully we learned a few tricks and went by a whole lot quicker once we got through that first tire. Ultimately, it saved us. I think the dealer quoted me $5,000 in labor to install it. So got $5,000 more in my pocket I can give to somebody else. I reckon. I know somebody's going to take it this year. Anyway, I'm glad it's done. Can't wait to get some corn planted and get it up to tassel and get ready to put a fungicide spray on it. See how well it does in some tall corn. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate all y'all watching. We'll be back again with something else pretty soon.